It's so disheartening. It was a slap in the face.
Austin medics venting to KXAN about pay frustrations. Our conversation with the people who show up when you call 911, why they say the city of Austin could be doing more to compensate them. Plus, we're taking a closer look at Governor Abbott's plan to bus migrants to D.C., how long it could take for the trips to start. Today, windy conditions could make running in the Capital 10K a little bit harder. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Maggie Glenn. It's going to be a warm and windy Sunday morning with a wind advisory in place for more than half the area. We'll get to Sean in just a minute, but first, this morning marks the 45th time runners will flood downtown for the Statesman race. It's making its full return this year after the event was held virtually last April. Thousands are signed up, and that means traffic and road closures around downtown. Here's a look at what to expect. According to the race website, some of the spots near the starting line closed as early as 3 this morning. The entire course will be closed to traffic in about an hour. And if you're out and about, check this parking map out. There are several places to go near the Palmer Event Center and by the Statesman building. We have this map for you over on our website, KXAN.com, if you want to go and take a look. And now, Sean joining us. Tell us a little bit about what runners can expect this morning, Sean.
Well, a little bit of a more humid start and a milder start this morning. The runners actually prefer the cooler weather like we saw yesterday, so it's not the best, but at least it's dry, it's rain-free out there.
Definitely.
And also going to be dealing with those winds out of the south, so they will be at your back here for all those stretches of the race that you're heading northbound, which is, again, good. That'll help, but then, of course, it'll be a struggle as you're heading south with some of these strong, gusty winds as we're dealing with, again, those winds right now. Pretty light, but again, later on today, we're going to see some wind gusts near 35 miles per hour, maybe even stronger than that, especially east of Austin. Again, we are dealing with comfortable conditions right now, but we're already starting to feel some of these impacts with the winds out of the south. We're starting to see that increase of humidity. It's going to feel very muggy tomorrow, all the way through the first half of the day on Wednesday, and then a cold front will actually get rid of the humidity, but out ahead of it, we've got a few rain chances to get through as well. Right now it's 60 degrees out there, a clear sky, quiet conditions. You can see a little bit of a shake in the camera there from some of those stronger winds high up in the sky. 65 degrees in Kingsland, 59 in Fredericksburg, so we're significantly warmer than yesterday at this time. 62 in Driftwood, 62 in Dripping Springs. Good morning to you. Out towards the east, we're into the low 60s as well. Nice and warm in Flatonia at 66 degrees. A great day to be out on the trail today. We are looking at a little bit more clouds up in the sky, but still really nice. Mid to upper 80s. You're still going to need to stay hydrated and, of course, keep reapplying that sunscreen. We are looking at, again, some changes to start off the work week here. Yeah, that's a change in the form of some rain, maybe even some isolated strong to severe storms. We'll talk about those impacts coming up.
All right, Sean, thank you. This week, the Criminal Justice Reform Committee is weighing an execution that's beginning to get national attention. The committee will meet Tuesday and invite testimony from the district attorney of Cameron County, where Melissa Lucio was convicted of killing her 2-year-old daughter 15 years ago. And with her execution date fast approaching, there's widespread doubt about if she's actually guilty. Since the conviction, Lucio has maintained her innocence, with many saying the evidence against her is outdated and that she may have been coerced into confession on the day her daughter died. Because of these questions, a bipartisan group of 87 Texas representatives are asking the State Board of Pardons and Paroles to show her mercy.
The letter that was sent to the Board of Pardons and Paroles is signed by members like me who believe we should abolish the death penalty, and is signed by people who believe that the death penalty should continue to exist. But those who believe it should continue to exist, they signed it saying you should never execute someone when there's a question of their guilt.
The Board of Parole typically waits until 48 hours before an execution to make a decision. Then the governor has the final say. Meanwhile, Governor Abbott will be at the border to talk about Texas security tomorrow. He'll be talking about the influx of what his office calls dangerous criminals and lethal drugs. The governor is also expected to discuss the federal response to the rising number of people trying to come into the U.S. For some depth, Governor Abbott's talks on the border tomorrow come as buses that were supposed to head to Washington haven't even left yet. As we've reported earlier this week, the governor announced that response after the White House announced it was ending the Title 42 emergency health order. It's expected to end on May 23rd. Abbott says migrants will not be forced onto the buses to D.C., but offered the opportunity to go. The president of LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, says many migrants won't board the bus. There are concerns busing people to D.C. could hurt the most vulnerable migrants.
When you have a Texas Department of Public Sheriff with his cowboy hat and cowboy boots and a gun and a badge, that can be very intimidating to an immigrant who just arrived here from Ukraine or El Salvador, and they might think they have to do that, and it's not voluntary.
In order for buses to leave, city leaders from border communities would need to call the state and ask for the service. However, we can say there are buses on standby. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, another mass exodus is underway, this time in the eastern parts of the country. The push to escape comes as Russia announced it will refocus its efforts to control that part of Ukraine. And during an address this morning, President Zelensky said Russia is now targeting all of Ukraine with its aggression, adding that stopping the invasion is essential for countries across the world. And this weekend, Britain's Boris Johnson made a secret trip to Kiev, meeting face-to-face with President Zelensky. He promised to do more for the country in the form of a $130 million economic boost and high-grade military equipment.
Since she and Polinka have joined us here in our home, it's like she's blessing us much more than we're giving her.
And here in Central Texas, Ukrainian refugees are already arriving. Alice Glass and her family welcomed a young Ukrainian mother and her 5-year-old daughter this week, but Irina's husband stayed back to fight. She tells us it was a difficult decision, but one that ultimately brought more peace to her family. Irina's mother, sister, and extended family are all still in Ukraine. She says she's able to get in regular contact with them. And with so many people being forced out of Ukraine, what is the U.S. doing to help them? Here's NBC's Chuck Todd with a preview of this morning's Meet the Press.
As Russian attacks continue in eastern Ukraine, the nation continues to beg for more assistance from the United States and the Allies. And as Ukraine pushes Russians out of Kyiv and the surrounding areas, the death toll and devastation are becoming even more plain for all to see. This has been a brutal, brutal attack by the Russians. So what's left for the United States to do? I'm going to talk to the Ukrainian Foreign Minister, Dmytro Kuleba, and White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Plus, Democrats had a rare moment of celebration this week with the confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. But what's next for the Biden agenda as many other key initiatives remain stalled? I'm going to break it down with somebody who's been warning of a possible recession. It's former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. It's all ahead this Sunday on Meet the Press.
This morning, we have new information about Friday night's crash on Barton Springs Road. We've now learned a few of the victims sent to the hospital were in town for a Deaf Nation Expo, and others are employees at a Salt Lake City-based company which provides accessible communication for deaf and hard of hearing people. Plus, we're also getting a better look at what happened after the collision. This is video taken moments after the T-bone crash between two vehicles that sent 9 people to the hospital. You can see people laying on the ground in pain. One witness we spoke with told us they heard a car speeding up and revving their engine before hearing a huge pop, which ended up being the crash. Austin police are still investigating. Austin's Emergency Medical Services Department is being offered a 14-cent raise by the city. It's the first time the association has negotiated for new pay in 4 years. Negotiations up to this point have been pretty rocky, but a recent development set off a firestorm on social media. KXAN's Blake Devine tells us what's being said.
Cassie Lighton has worked with Austin's Emergency Medical Service Department for the past 16 years. But times have never been this tough.
The last 2 years are the hardest 2 years I have had in EMS between the storm and the pandemic.
Putting her life on the line has come at a cost.
I can't tell you how many shifts I went home crying or had moments in the middle of a shift where I would break into tears.
Right now, Austin's EMS is putting in a request for more pay. But on Friday, the city only offered a 14-cent raise.
It's so disheartening. It was a slap in the face, and frankly, it feels really disrespectful, and like what we do doesn't matter.
The EMS Association president says they originally asked for a base pay of $27 per hour.
We are worth more than 14 cents. Our medics are currently paid starting wage $19.56.
Already down 25% of its staff. EMS has struggled to recruit new medics.
You can't afford to live in this city and work here.
We reached out to a city spokesperson who said their offer included a 51% increase in funds from the last contract. They also say the entry-level pay for paramedics would be more than 5% higher than any other entity in Texas. Looking ahead, the city and association will meet with a mediator in May.
Because we're so far apart, the next steps are bringing in federal mediators that can come help us work out these issues.
We also asked if we could see a strike sometime soon if the city doesn't increase its offer, but the EMS Association says despite its frustration, they would never halt their commitment to keeping the community safe. Here's a little comparison of what other first responders are making as their starting pay. Members of the Austin Fire Department make more than $26 an hour. Members of the Austin Police Department make just above $30 an hour. Those pay scales go into effect once firefighters successfully complete the academy and once police officers graduate from their cadet class. There's a different kind of race happening later today. MotoGP riders will see the lights go out at 1 this afternoon. Gates open at 8 a.m. and tickets are still on sale. A quick reminder, if you're not planning to go, traffic does still get heavy around COTA during events like these, so try to avoid the area if you can. And now we bring in Sean. If anyone's heading out to COTA, Sean, what can they expect today?
A really nice one. Yesterday, conditions were really good. It was a little bit on the hotter side. It's going to be slightly hotter than that today. I think we'll reach right around 89 to 90 degrees today. The difference will be some stronger winds to make it feel a little bit better, but also we'll see some increasing clouds as well. So we're going to be dealing with that. A stray shower, that's mainly west of the area. Tomorrow, though, into Tuesday especially, we have a better chance of rain. We'll talk about that coming up.
And making a splash, how the city of Austin remembered a woman for her role in opening up a historic pool for everyone.
Good morning. Texas and TCU continuing their series on the diamond. Game 2 looked a lot different than Game 1. More on the action ahead in sports.